In the duck is an egg, in the egg burns a light, that light is my life. If you could put out that light, my life would be at an end. But that can never, never be." However, the young man got hold of the egg, smashed it, and put out the light, and with it the witch's life went out also. In a German story, a cannibal called Body Without Soul, or Soulless, keeps his soul in a box, which stands on a rock in the middle of the Red Sea. A soldier gets possession of the box, and goes with it to Soulless, who begs the soldier to give him back his soul. But the soldier opens the box, takes out the soul, and flings it backward over his head. At the same moment the cannibal drops dead to the ground. In another story, an old warlock lives with a damsel all alone in the midst of a vast and gloomy wood. She fears that being old he may die, and leave her alone in the forest. But he reassures her. "Dear child," he says, "I cannot die, and I have no heart in my breast." But she importuned him to tell her where his heart was. So he said, "Far, far from here, in an unknown and lonesome land, stands a great church. The church is well secured with iron doors, and round about it flows a broad, deep moat. In the church flies a bird, and in the bird is my heart. So long as the bird lives, I live. It cannot die of itself, and no one can catch it. Therefore I cannot die, and you need have no anxiety." However, the young man, whose bride the damsel was to have been before the warlock spirited her away, contrived to reach the church and catch the bird. He brought it to the damsel, who stowed him and it away under the warlock's bed. Soon the old warlock came home. He was ailing and said so. The girl wept and said, "Alas, Daddy is dying. He has a heart in his breast after all." "Child," replied the warlock, "hold your tongue. I can't die. I will soon pass over." At that, the young man under the bed gave the bird a gentle squeeze, and as he did so, the old warlock felt very unwell and sat down. Then the young man gripped the bird tighter, and the warlock fell senseless from his chair. "Now squeeze him dead!" cried the damsel. Her lover obeyed, and when the bird was dead, the old warlock also lay dead on the floor. In the Norse tale of "The Giant Who Had No Heart in His Body," the giant tells the captive princess, "Far, far away in a lake lies an island. On that island stands a church. In that church is a well. In that well swims a duck. In that duck there is an egg, and in that egg there lies my heart." The hero of the tale, with the help of some animals to whom he had been kind, obtains the egg and squeezes it, at which the giant screams piteously and begs for his life. But the hero breaks the egg in pieces, and the giant at once bursts. In another Norse story, a hill ogre tells the captive princess that she will never be able to return home unless she finds the grain of sand which lies under the 9th tongue of the 9th head of a certain dragon. But if that grain of sand were to come over the rock in which the ogres live, they would all burst, "and the rock itself would become a gilded palace, and the lake green meadows." The hero finds the grain of sand and takes it to the top of a high rock in which the ogres live. So all the ogres burst, and the rest falls out as one of the ogres had foretold. In a Celtic tale, recorded in the West Highlands of Scotland, a giant is questioned by a captive queen as to where he keeps his soul. At last, after deceiving her several times, he confides to her the fatal secret. "There is a great flagstone under the threshold. There is a wether under the flag. There is a duck in the wether's belly, and an egg in the belly of the duck, and it is in the duck that my soul is." On the morrow when the giant was gone, the queen contrived to get possession of the egg and crushed it in her hands. And at that very moment the giant, who was coming home in the dusk, fell down dead. In another Celtic tale, a sea beast has carried off a king's daughter, but an old smith declares that there is no way of killing the beast but one. In the island that is in the midst of the loch is Eilid Caission, the white-footed hind of the slenderest legs and the swiftest step, and though she should be caught, there would spring a hoodie out of her, and though the hoodie should be caught, there would spring a trout out of her. But there is an egg in the mouth of the trout, and the soul of the beast is in the egg, and if the egg breaks, the beast is dead. As usual, the egg is broken, and the beast dies. In an Irish story we read how a giant kept a beautiful damsel a prisoner in his castle on the top of a hill, which was white with the bones of the champions who had tried in vain to rescue the fair captive. At last the hero, after hewing and slashing at the giant all to no purpose, discovered that the only way to kill him was to rub a mole on the giant's right breast with a certain egg, which was in a duck, which was in a chest, which lay locked and bound at the bottom of the sea. With the help of some obliging animals, the hero made himself master of the precious egg, and slew the giant by merely striking it against the mole on his right breast. Similarly, in a Breton story, there figures a giant whom neither fire nor water nor steel can harm. He tells his seventh wife, whom he has just married after murdering all her predecessors, "I am immortal, but no one can hurt me unless he crushes on my breast an egg, which is in a pigeon, which is in the belly of a hare. This hare is in the belly of a wolf, and this wolf is in the belly of my brother, who dwells 1,000 leagues from here. So I am quite easy on that score." A soldier contrived to obtain the egg and crush it on the breast of the giant, who immediately expired. In another Breton tale, the life of a giant resides in an old box tree which grows in his castle garden, and to kill him it is necessary to sever the taproot of the tree at a single blow of an axe, without injuring any of the lesser roots. This task the hero, as usual, successfully accomplishes, and at the same moment the giant drops dead. The notion of an external soul has now been traced in folk tales told by Aryan peoples from India to Ireland. We have still to show that the same idea occurs commonly in the popular stories of the peoples who do not belong to the Aryan stock. In the ancient Egyptian tale of the Two Brothers, which was written down in the reign of Ramesses II, about 1300 B.C., we read how one of the brothers enchanted his heart and placed it in the flower of an acacia tree, and how, when the flower was cut at the instigation of his wife, he immediately fell down dead, but revived when his brother found his lost heart in the berry of the acacia and threw it into a cup of fresh water. In the story of Saif el-Moluk in the Arabian Nights, the genie tells the captive daughter of the king of India, "When I was born, the astrologers declared that the destruction of my soul would be effected by the hand of one of the sons of the human kings. I therefore took my soul and put it into the crop of a sparrow, and I imprisoned the sparrow in a little box, and put this into another small box, and this I put within 7 other small boxes, and I put these within 7 chests, and the chests I put into a coffer of marble within the verge of this circumambient ocean, for this part is remote from the countries of mankind, and none of mankind can gain access to it. But Saif el-Moluk got possession of the sparrow and strangled it, and the genie fell upon the ground a heap of black ashes." In a Kabyle story, an ogre declares that his fate is far away in an egg, which is in a pigeon, which is in a camel, which is in the sea. The hero procures the egg and crushes it between his hands, and the ogre dies. In a Magyar folk tale, an old witch detains a young prince called Ambrose in the bowels of the earth. At last she confided to him that she kept a wild boar in a silken meadow, and if it were killed, they would find